Hello folks, Gallery of ThrabenU here for another modern video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Preston M's Mono Red Saga deck. So what I have up on screen is the original version that Preston sent me, and then I'll pull up the version that I'm going to play. So just kind of a quick explanation of their original idea. They wanted to play a deck that both had some of the red stompy, red prison, red aggro, whatever you want to call it, elements, as well as Urza Saga, because Urza Saga is, a busted power level card. It can just very easily win games on its own. So the original idea is kind of similar to the Legacy Red Prison deck, but it also has Ragavan to ramp out some of these larger threats. And you can have things like Fury to clear the way for it. Um, so when I looked at this deck list, I saw like a deck that was heavily dependent on Ragavan and one drop removal that also ran Chalice of the Void. And I saw a deck that ran Urza Saga, but also ran Blood Moon. I saw a deck that ran Ensnaring Bridge, but also had large-ish creatures that would want to get into the red zone. And then there's also some stuff here that is perhaps a little bit sketchy and could be better replaced by something like, say, a Maze Mind Tome. So I thought there was a good start here, and I'm going to show you kind of where my mind went in retuning the deck list. So something that Preston said was that they thought Karn the Great Creator would work pretty well in this deck, and I agree. So that's one of the first things I did was slot in a Karn package. Now, Legacy fans, you might not know this because I didn't know this. Mycosynth Lattice is banned in Modern, so you can't use that to just get a free win with Karn. So Karn is going to be more of a distraction, slowly blowing up opponents' lands with liquid metal coating. And specifically in the context of this deck, it's going to be a tutor for Ensnaring Bridge. When I rebuilt this deck, I had a version with 4 Ensnaring Bridges, and then I had a version with 3 Ensnaring Bridges and Karn, and then I kind of settled on this for reasons I guess I should explain now. So, with Urza Saga tokens, and with Bonecrusher Giants and Furies, my creatures are not just going to be like 1 power creatures where I can just like draw a card and then always attack in with them. And while I think I want access to Ensnaring Bridge to protect my Planeswalkers when the games go really, really, really long, I don't necessarily need an Ensnaring Bridge early, especially since I added more removal. So my version of the deck has 2 more Lightning Bolts and 2 more Bonecrusher Giants, in addition to what the deck originally had. And when I saw this deck was playing Ragavan, I wanted to have more 3-drops, because like Ragavan attacks on turn 2, giving you the treasure token and the 3rd mana. And if you can just use that 3rd mana to do something scary, you pull ahead pretty quickly. And this is why I wanted more Bonecrusher Giants. Like if I play Ragavan into Bonecrusher Giant, that's a lot of power on board. Or if I play Ragavan into a Goblin Rabblemaster, which has some sweet secret lair art, BTW, that's another way to just spiral the game out of the control. The original deck list had a whole bunch of seasoned Pyromancers, and I think that card's fine. And I kept 1, but I want my 3-drops to have a high impact on the game if I am going to be playing them on turn 2. I also considered Gemstone Cavern for this deck, but opted to just run another mountain because we are playing Skred. I moved the Chalice of the Voids to the sideboard because I did add more 1-drops to the deck, and because I think a lot of times you're going to be playing Chalice on 0 anyway. I really want Chalice on 0 to help out with the Living End, the Cascade matchups in particular. I think those are going to be a little bit tough for us, so I did want the full playset of Chalice of the Void. Now, after that, the sideboard gets a touch sketch because I don't think we get to beat everything here. I think we have to make some choices. So the original deck list had things like Magmatic Theft, which are like very, very, very clearly aimed at Hammer Time. It's my hope that by adding a few more Bolt effects and a few more Bonecrusher Giants, I can stop the first hammer from being equipped, and then maybe like get to the point where I get like a Karn down or something like that. That allows me to make it much more difficult for them to get that thing equipped. So kind of the matchups I've chosen to beat are the Living End matchups, the Fair Blue matchups, and the Burn matchups. And the last couple cards here are sort of my tiny wish package, although keep in mind that Karn can wish for a Chalice on 0 in the Living End matchup in game 1. I've opted to have one more piece of Graveyard Hate that I can find off Urza's Saga, and then I have the Liquid Metal Coating and Ensnaring Bridge as my Karn targets. Just to talk about this, the other thing that I really considered putting in this deck was Magus of the Moon, but like the donor really wanted to keep the Urza Sagas around in this deck. And while Magus of the Moon is awesome with Ragavan as a turn 2 play, I think if Magus of the Moon starts getting added to the deck, you just have to pull the Urza Saga because you're going to destroy your own lands too frequently. That said, it's a fine sideboard option for if you're playing against something like Tron or some other like very non-basic heavy deck. Whew, okay, that was kind of a dense deck tech. Anyway, if you're here, throw me a like. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. And on that note, the donation queue is really light right now. So if you have something that you want to see on the channel, this is a fantastic time to donate, especially if we end up getting some bans in Legacy sometime soon. I have to record these videos like a week in advance. I think we're getting bans in Legacy sometime soon. So if we got bans and you're excited about something, throw me a donation. I'll get it on the channel soon. Okay, let's battle. Alright, we are playing against a Lurrus deck. My hand doesn't really do anything. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan. We can probably find something more powerful to do. Yeah, this hand is great in comparison. We're going to pitch one of the Blood Moons here. The Blood Moon will be a turn 2 play, assuming my Ragavan can connect. There is a world where I, pitch a land instead of a Blood Moon here so that I can Fury on turn 2. I don't really know if that's right. I don't have, enough modern experience to know, against the range of Lurrus decks that are possible, Fury is this important. Good old Lurrus Bobble. I don't miss that from Legacy, but Lurrus is totally fine in Modern. Okay. Don't know. No. Goodbye, Ragavan, probably. I don't know what Nurturing Peatland is supposed to be a tell for. My current guess is it's going to be some sort of, Abzan deck or something of that nature. Alright, so there's the Bobble draw. Did not just randomly spike a new Ragavan, unfortunately. I suppose my opponent's deck doesn't, have to be an Abzan deck. They could be, just a green-black deck, like Lurrus is castable with black mana symbols as well. So my opponent's not doing too much if they're just cycling right now. It kind of feels like my opponent's deck might have, some Tarmogoyfs or something like that. Just, oh, they kept a one-lander, hoping to get out of it between, a draw step and a bobble. Oh, yeah. So they have one turn to draw, a fetch land to get a basic out of their deck, or they're just getting fucking mooned. I guess they could all... Okay, there's a basic, so they're not just totally donezo here. But this will probably sting. Okay, so my Tarmogoyf guess was correct. Skred can't kill that yet. And Fury can't kill that yet. I guess the two could work together to do that. I can also just, long-term Karn for an Ensnaring Bridge. And that's totally reasonable as well. Alright, new Karn means that, I can have access to a Karn through a Thoughtseize. That's totally fine. My Blood Moon sticks, and my opponent didn't leave up, an Abrupt Decay to answer it. Which is great for me. Also a world where I can use 3 cards to answer a Tarmogoyf if I, absolutely have to. Oh. Okay, so Jund was the answer, and I just fixed my opponent for red mana. Inconvenient. I mean, yeah. Don't they know about my Skred, though? So, I think this is a time where it's okay to do something kind of wonky in order to just clear the board. So there's already a creature in my opponent's graveyard. So I can Fury, deal 3 to Tarmogoyf, 1 to Ragavan, and then finish off Tarmogoyf with Bonecrusher Giant. That'll work fine. I'll exile the Skred here. So 3 to Tarmogoyf, 1 to the Ragavan. Goodbye to my Fury. Stomp and finish off the Tarmogoyf, and then this way my Bonecrusher Giant ends up in exile, and I can just cast it later. Unfortunately, this treasure token now represents a use of black mana for my opponent, so they could do something like cast an Abrupt Decay and answer my Blood Moon. Okay, they found another basic, but it's a mountain, no big deal. A third Ragavan, sure. That's a little annoying, it makes my Blood Moon considerably worse. Also, like, this Lurrus is... oh, fuck. Finishing the thought, this Lurrus is going to be problematic, because, like, it getting back this Tarmogoyf long term is a problem for me. It's more Karn. Not really what I'm going for here. Also, just to talk about this before this happens, Urza Saga is not a live land drop for me to hit my next land drop to play these Karns, because my Blood Moon would just destroy it. Yeah, this Ren 6 can just start pinging me. Okay. What did that Ren 6 just do? Okay. Oh, I see. So it pinged the Bonecrusher Giant, and now they're going to use this to destroy this, and that means a Ragavan is going to get in a hit. Yeah, I think I am effectively dead. Like, even if I stabilize the board from the creatures, like, the Lurrus is going to bring back, like, Baubles and Tarmogoyfs and whatnot, and this Ren 6 just represents damage to my face. I think this one has tipped very cleanly in favor of my opponent. Okay, sure. Well, that's a redraw. I guess yeah, I guess I do this now, because, like, I can hit a land drop, or I can hit, like, my own Ragavan, or a Skred or something. Lightning Bolt. Alright, I make my land drop. This is still quite bad, though. So, like, I can take 4 damage this turn, and then be dead the following turn. I guess if my opponent doesn't optimize for damage, like, I can play Karn and then in the Snaring Bridge. No, that's not really gonna do it. Oh, yeah, that being in the mix too is no good. All right, let's toss in the towel here. We just got junded. All right, what do I want versus this deck? I probably have minimal cards for this deck. Yeah, I think I'm submitting the game 1 deck. Like, I don't really want chalices. Like, my opponent has a bunch of, like, 2-drops and stuff where this isn't going to be impactful. I want to wish for the Ensnaring Bridge. I want to wish for this. Yep, we're unfortunately resubmitting the game 1 deck. If I had more, like, relics, that's something that I would like to bring in. Okay, this hand is fine. Not every hand can just, like, open on a Ragavan and have my best possible opener. But I have answers to my opponent's early threats, and I have, like, 2.5 or 3 threats, or if you want to count Urza Saga. Like, you do that math however you want, but I've got some stuff. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to fire off a lightning bolt at my opponent's face here. I'm guessing I lose the value card, but like, this is a very contextual take. Like, there's not one card that's, like, clearly best here. It's just like, does my opponent need to punch a hole for, like, a Ragavan, or does my opponent need to, like, stop a certain type of card? Like, they stopped the card that would go wide, which might mean that they have, like, some spot removal. Since I have a 4-drop Planeswalker, I don't think I just want to, like, ram the Urza Saga out as quickly as possible. I will stomp my opponent's face end of turn if they don't end up playing something relevant that I, like, have to otherwise remove. Just because, like, 100% of the time, I would be, like, playing Bonecrusher Giant out as my 3-drop on my turn in all likelihood. Yeah, I mean, that's happening. Okay. Guess I discard the Lightning Bolt here, because the Skred can answer some of the fatter creatures some proportion of the time. And we'll just stomp end of turn. Alright, opponent's at 16. Not a bad draw, but it's slightly awkward right now. Notably here, my opponent has not shown green mana yet. So they may not have access to some things like Abrupt Decay or Ren 6. I'm unsure if I am going to make Urza Saga Construct tokens or not. Okay, there's the green mana. Okay. That's probably bye-bye Planeswalker, but we'll see. Yep, bye-bye Planeswalker. Yeah, it's my hope that I can use my Urza Saga to get a Relic of Progenitus and keep my opponent from getting that Kroxa in play, because it's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't think Kroxa is particularly a great Magic the Gathering card. I've tried it in Legacy a number of times and just absolutely always been underwhelmed. Okay. So I could offer a trade of Bonecrusher Giant and Skred for Tarmogoyf, but I think I'm just going to try to like finish off a Tarmogoyf via a Relic. I guess I'll just make constructs here. Kind of makes it difficult for my opponent to actually attack. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so no first main phase land drop from my opponent. Okay, and my opponent is going to play defensively. Sorry if you can hear that terrible racket outside. I think there's a garbage truck. Alright, so there's my construct token. Oh my god. I mean, like, don't stop. I need you to take the garbage, but it's loud. Alright, so now I'll search for the relic. I'll activate that relic. And Kroxa's in check now. But we can kind of see one of the problems with Urza Saga in this deck list. Like, I have things like Chandras and Bonecrusher Giants and Rabble Masters that I need to cast, so when I lose this Urza Saga as a land, it's a little rough. I don't have the Ancient Tombs and such that the Legacy version of this deck has, so that like when you're on 2 lands, you can still just play your 3 drops anyway. Okay, we have got an opponent to pull the trigger on something. Okay. I am very interested in the fact that they didn't just blow up my Relic of Progenitus, and they instead took out a Construct token. Like, once this Relic pops, that Tarmogoyf is not a reasonable blocker anymore. If my opponent didn't have mana up, I also had more aggressive lines that I could have taken, where I, like, didn't make the second Construct token, and instead I just, like, Skred the Tarmogoyf, then crack Relic of Progenitus, or, like, Bonecrusher Giant the Tarmogoyf, and then crack Relic of Progenitus, and, like, guaranteed get the Tarmogoyf out of the way. But, like, since my opponent had mana up, and, like, I don't know what I need to be playing around, I didn't really like that line. I really want a land drop. Oh, that is mighty interesting. I'll take that hit. Do you just have another one, or what? Multiple spot removal spells? Okay. So I am going to just discard this Karn here. I'm really hoping to draw a land for my turn. Okay, cool. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do my attack in for 6. Half of my opponent's life total. Start by seeing if that works. Okay. I mean, that's almost as much damage as I would have gotten in anyway, so that's okay. So my opponent will take 2 here and go to 8. I think most of the time I'm going to want to do this. Let's just stomp the Tarmogoyf and nuke all the graveyards and kill the Tarmogoyf. Okay. My next turn is pretty good. I'll get to play either a Rabble Master or a Bonecrusher Giant and Urza Saga while holding up Skred. Although the Urza Saga is going to not contribute to the Skred count. Sure. I don't mind that. Like, I still have a threat hanging out in exile, and this also costs my opponent 2 life. Yep, okay. Not surprised to see my threat go. It's scariest for me if my opponent plays, like, a Tarmogoyf on that turn, where they, like, cleanly clog up the board. Okay, I will play the Urza Saga this turn. I think I will just Skred this out of the way now, and take my 1 point of damage from my Construct token. I don't think there's anything that is going to make me not want to do this. So I'm just going to do this pre-combat in case something super wonky happens and my Urza Saga somehow like dies. Yeah. I have a 2-turn clock and a good amount of card advantage. We'll see if my opponent just like returns a Lurrus to hand. Ooh, they do not. Alright. So let's attempt 4 damage. Doesn't feel like it's going to work. Okay, I mean, that's still 2 damage, which is super spooky for them right now. And I'll pull a random mountain out of my deck. So now I'm up to 5 permanents, or sorry, 5 mountains for Skred. So it still won't kill a Tarmogoyf in a lot of scenarios, but it will just cleanly answer the Lurrus or this Ragavan. I think I will let them just go to combat and then take it out. Just make sure they can't dash another one in. And I'll make my construct. Is this an activated ability? Can this be shut off via a pithing needle? I feel like if the answer was yes, I would know that. Never mind, I don't even need to think about it. My opponent's just dead. Alright, so there's my other construct. I grab a pithing needle. Aim Ren in 6. Dash Ragavan. And there's 5 damage to finish off my opponent. Alright, good stuff. So I didn't see any major sideboard cards from my opponent, but it seems like there were some slight adjustments. Guess I want to add this Grafdigger's Cage to the deck on the draw. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. What do I want to pull? Unsure. Maybe a Fury. Like, it's a fine card in some situations, because it'll answer, like, the Dragon Rage Channelers and the Ragavans and stuff, but it's not great against, like, some of the Planeswalkers, the, like, Tarmogoyfs and such. Okay, how much do I believe in Ragavan? Is it this much? I really need more lands to do anything with this hand. If my Ragavan lives and gets through, this hand is very good. This is hard. Like, if my Ragavan connects, I just have, like, a turn 2 Goblin Rabblemaster. I have Fury to force stuff through. I have Skred for my opponent's stuff. But if this Ragavan doesn't get through, this hand is kind of rough. I think I'm going to mulligan this and try to find something safer. This is much safer. I will keep this and pitch 1 land. If my Ragavan gets through, I do have a turn 2 Blood Moon here, which is probably pretty good versus my opponent. We'll also see if they can afford to get basics with their hand to play around Blood Moon. Oh wow, Basic Mountain. Sure. We'll absolutely just play my Ragavan on 1. And my opponent gets a couple of Surveils, they get a couple of Surveils, but I want to live the dream of potentially Blood Mooning on turn 2. And if I don't Blood Moon on turn 2, I can still attempt a Lightning Bolt on Dragon Rage Channeler and then get in with Ragavan. Okay. That's not a basic, notably. Ooh. Okay. So my Ragavan is not getting through. Do I want to trade Ragavan for a Dragon Rage Channeler? Sort of. I don't really want my opponent surveilling and, like, using that as a way to get out of a Blood Moon. I'm going to start by Lightning Bolting one of these and seeing if my opponent casts something like a Fatal Push in response. No. Alright. I'm gonna make this trade. My opponent has more removal in their deck than I do, in all likelihood. I like this trade when I have the Blood Moon to back up the trade and potentially keep my opponent from playing things like Kroxa and Tarmogoyf and Ren and 6. Okay. There's a basic, but that's not going to answer this Blood Moon. Like, that's not green mana. Okay, Blood Moon has resolved. So my opponent probably has 1 basic forest in their deck. Otherwise, they're reliant on, like, a Ragavan dash. Okay. I do not want this Pithing Needle. You can have your Dragon Rage Channeler, and then I will just ping it with Chandra. That's not that big of a deal. Motherfucker! That's some shit. I'm a little bit upset. My anger will intensify if my opponent now has, like, Dash Ragavan as the follow-up. Because, like, they don't have it in their hand right now, or they would have done that already. So, it would have to be, like, their next draw step. Okay, that's a K command again. That's a little bit of a rough amount of value. I'll be able to cycle a Relic and make this into less of a problem, but, like, my opponent's still going to have things like Lurrus. Sequencing is a little weird here. I think I'm going to play out the Relic and then pass the turn. And then take action in my opponent's upkeep. I'll start by tapping this. They'll exile one of their Culligan's commands. I think it's worth letting them potentially surveil once so that, like, a top deck Ragavan doesn't get in. And if they Thoughtseize me, I can just Bonecrusher Giant in response. Okay. I'll take that opportunity to stomp the Dragon Rage Channeler. Now I'll take 3 from the Kroxa, and that's fine. And And then it gets escaped. Or not escaped, sacrificed. I don't think I need to junk the graveyard immediately. I think I want to keep this around so that Aluris doesn't ball this game out of control. I wonder if my opponent can even cast the Aluris, though. Just being honest here. Alright, so play my land. Junk a card from the graveyard. This is also 5, right? Yeah. Play out the Bonecrusher Giant. And I think I'm going to sandbag the Relic for as long as possible. I'll remove it when I have to. Or like maybe at a point where I just absolutely hit dead draws and I need something. But I don't mind this card hanging out on board. Okay. This is just 2 damage, right? There are not 4 or more types. Yeah, so that does not kill my Bonecrusher Giant. That will kill my Bonecrusher Giant. Okay, so now the Lurrus goes to hand. They would need black, so they only get a Lurrus if they have a basic swamp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And send that back down to 4. Do I want to take my redraw? I don't think I want to take my redraw. I'll take it when I have to. But this is just going to do so much in terms of like keeping Roxa, Tarmogoyf, Dragon Rage Channelers, Lurrus in check that I just want to keep this around. Also, just to talk about this, there's a very real chance that my opponent times out at the rate they are playing. They are not going quickly. That's scary. That might be a scary enough situation where I crack the Relic now. Because if this connects, my opponent gets Lurrus. They have 3 Lightning Bolts, 3 Bonecrusher Giants, 4 Skreds to hit. That is a lot of hits. But if I crack this Relic and I don't hit, my opponent has a Lurrus. Honestly, like, my opponent having 5 power in play when I have 0 power in play is probably a bad enough situation, like, on its own. That, like, Lurrus abilities aside, it's not great for me. Okay. So, I drew an answer to a Lurrus. That's the good news here. The bad news here is that, like, my opponent has Ragavan, and Ragavan is Ragavan. Okay, my opponent did not play it out. Okay. I'll do my stuff then. I'll do this in plus, see if I hit something great. No, I do not need a second Blood Moon, I don't think. Famous last words and whatnot, but I think it's more important for me to generate what can be a blocker for this Ragavan. Although, I kind of think that this thing is just going to die immediately. My opponent didn't use their mana for Lurrus. Like, they must have something else. Or maybe they don't realize that they have the second black mana for Lurrus. Like, that's also a thing that I guess could have happened here. Yeah, that's fine. I am being attacked by Ragavan, not my Planeswalker. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. I'll take 2. Cast my Blood Moon. Fucking cast it. Like, maybe my opponent expected me to block so they could just, like, play Lurrus and then replay Ragavan from graveyard. Like, I would have blocked to protect the Chandra, but not my life total. Yeah, that's fine. I just get to murder that immediately. Oh my god. Yeah, since this is just sorcery speed removal, I think I am just going to snag the Lurrus here. I don't know if my opponent has played this one optimally. I mean, I've probably made mistakes too, but it's hard for me to tell where my opponent's head is at currently. Alright. My opponent is at 6 life, facing down, a lot of power, plus a lightning bolt, plus a planeswalker. Yeah, that's fine. That does not make you any less dead on board. Okay, that's a dashed Ragavan. I think I still answer this, because there's the potential for this to go wrong, and just, like, absolutely swing the game if they hit, like, a planeswalker or something from my deck. So I think I'm going to do this rather than keep the lightning bolt, but it can get a little awkward if my opponent plays something like a Tarmogoyf here. Yeah. It's like the... Ooh. That's fine. Like, I'll still attack in with goblin tokens and be perfectly happy with that. How is this as a dash? Not great. I probably just attack with 3 goblins and deal my opponent 1 point of damage and then play out my Ragavan afterwards. Yeah, alright, so I'm gonna make my goblin and attack with those. I am totally good if my opponent trades a Ragavan or one of these. Alright, I'll take 2 damage. Or I'll inflict 2 damage. I think because my opponent's deck plays discard, I'm just going to play this out. I think since my opponent is at 4 and sub 4 minutes on their clock, I am ahead on multiple angles, but like one big top deck swings this game pretty hard in either direction. Yep, I'll trade Ragavan for Ragavan here. Quite gladly. So I'm gonna get in some points of damage with Goblin tokens this turn. Oh, that's fantastic. So if my Goblin Rabble Master attacks in, it will trade with a Tarmogoyf. I am good with that, and then I'll have like Urza Saga as my. Oh no, I won't, cause Blood Moon. Fuck. Okay. Am I good trading Goblin Rabble Master for a Tarmogoyf? I think so. 1 point of damage so that my opponent is in Lightning Bolt range is very strong. Otherwise, I'm just getting. Yeah, getting my opponent to Lightning Bolt range while also killing a Tarmogoyf is pretty good here. I hate how small the text is on these, by the way. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. Opponent's at 2. I can't play this Urza Saga or it just immediately dies. Yeah, this is deck building tension. That's a hell of a draw. Oh, okay. This is very good. So this will outright kill a Tarmogoyf. And I'll be missing 1 point of damage. These don't have to attack anymore, so I can just chill. At this point, I might be most likely to win via timeout. Jesus. Like, okay, I'm going to hold this Skred. I'm not going to need to use, like, this absurd amount of mana. So this is not immediately lethal. I can play Goblin Rabble Master, Skred one of these, and get in for 1 point of damage. I think I'm supposed to play a post-combat Goblin Rabble Master. Because then next turn, the Goblin Rabble Master can attack as well. And then I don't lose tokens this turn because they're forced to attack. What an absolutely crazy game in terms of, like, length and intricacy. That slow speed cantrip is not looking great here. Alright, so I will junk a Tarmogoyf. And now my opponent needs to draw a removal spell right here, or they are dead. They need to kill my Goblin Rabble Master. Well, they did it. Alright, my opponent drew 4 Tarmogoyfs, and I am over here with these Urza Sagas. It's cool. Alright, it looks like they have whiffed on their draw. Okay, this is going to be the same thing as before, where I'll do the post-combat Goblin Rabble Master. I don't know, maybe there's a world where my opponent like ends up blowing up my Blood Moon to activate their Raging Ravines, and then my Urza Sagas are live again, and I Pithing Needle a Raging Ravine. Alright. I've got mountains to pick up. God. Like, math nerds, what's the probability of my opponent ripping 3 Tarmogoyfs in a row and then me drawing 3 Urza Sagas? Don't actually crunch the numbers. Like, I don't actually care. But this is rough. All right, well, that's, I guess, the upside of doing this. Ooh, that is a little bit of a risky attack if my opponent doesn't have a removal spell. Because it means they're going to die to, like, a Ragavan or a Goblin Rabble Master. Nope, just Blood Moon, though. Well, that sucks. I guess I play this so I don't die to, like, a removal spell and then an activation of Raging Ravine. But now I have to, like, hold back and, like, actually block with these Goblin tokens. Well, with one of them. 2 if I want to play around a Lightning Bolt, but I don't think I do. My opponent has used... Oh, that's inconvenient. I have to block one of these. I think I'm supposed to go to 1, because then I have, like, Rabble Master, Lightning Bolt, Stomp as outs. Yeah, so this doesn't play around their last card being Lightning Bolt or the top card of my Lightning Bolt, my library being a Lightning Bolt or another similar effect, but I have more live draws because of Goblin Rabble Master if I don't block the Ragavan here. But it's literally just 1 more live draw, though, right? It is 1 Goblin Rabble Master, because I have used 3 of my 4 Goblin Rabble Masters already. Yeah, maybe... Yeah, maybe I can't risk them getting something that kills me off of my deck. Because, like, a blocker's bad, too, because then that shuts off Ragavan. Alright. if my top card is Goblin Rabble Master, this match is just the absolute definition of bullshit. I don't. This is so frustrating. Alright, round 2, I only have 1 land here. This has to be a mulligan. I'll keep this one and pitch a mountain. This is going to be a game where I hope my opponent is playing out a couple small creatures that I can just answer with Lightning Bolt and Skred, and then try to take over the game via Urza Saga. Oh. This shit's still around. I'm going to play a Modern League before lunch. Modern Leagues are fast. Alright. Sure, that's fine. I guess with, like, my Urza Saga, I still have, like, something that's a little annoying. My opponent's gonna take this Rabble Master, I think, so I'm not gonna Lightning Bolt their face here. Yep, alright, so the Rabble Master goes, now I'll Lightning Bolt your face. I don't think this deck plays any creatures, or at least I don't think it did back when I, like, had exposure to it. So that probably means this Skred is a dead card. Ragavan isn't. Ragavan definitely isn't. I think I'm going to go ahead and just dash this turn. Kind of pull ahead on mana. Yeah, sure. That's fine. And then I can use the mana from this to replay the Ragavan next turn. Ooh! Change of plans? I think I'm good with change of plans. Yeah, I don't care about that Thoughtseize. I do really fucking care about this Ensnaring Bridge, though. Alright. Good stuff. Yeah, yep. There goes the Ragavan, which I assume is going to be surgically extracted. Alright, so my Skreds will have targets, because my opponent will also have Urza Saga Construct tokens. Okay, so they are going to draw step surgical. Yep, the Ragavan. That's fine. Oh. They didn't actually remove the Ragavan from my graveyard. Oh, they didn't actually remove my Ragavans at all. Okay. This is confusing to me. I'll make my construct. That's really strong. That kills my opponent's Urza Saga and takes them off of their colors. I don't think I make another construct token. Yeah, I don't think I make a construct token here. Plan has changed. A Pithing Needle this Codex Shredder, I guess. Alright. Pithing Needle that. Play my Blood Moon. My opponent did... What? What are you doing? Like, my opponent F6, so now they don't have a construct token. Like... I don't understand. Okay. I'll Shattering Spree for my opponent's, like, construct tokens and some of their artifact bullshit, like Ensnaring Bridge. I'm not sure if I'm actually supposed to Chalice. Like, stopping the 1-drops before they set up is cool, but especially on the draw, I don't know that that's actually great. I think I'm going to cut 2 Furies and just play 2 Shattering Sprees, keep the Skreds, even though they're not particularly strong. I will need to get their constructs out of the way and stop their constructs from pressuring my Planeswalkers. Yeah, I think I'm good with this hand. It's not, like, highly aggressive or anything, but, like, it has a Blood Moon. It has a way to stop some of my opponent's artifact stuff. For sure. Okay. I assume I lose the Blood Moon here. Yep. Is Relic better than Immediate Pithing Needle? Probably. I'm gonna play out Relic, and I'm actually going to Relic myself and exile my Blood Moon so that my Blood Moons can't be surgically extracted. Notably, my Urza Saga doesn't actually fetch an artifact anymore, I don't think. Alright, you've got your own Urza Saga. Alright. So, now, fuck me. I was about to say, like, now I'm in this really awkward situation of, like, do I actually Pithing Needle Urza Saga. I think now that I drew the third one, the answer is a resounding no. But for a second there, it was close. All right. I don't think my opponent's going to main phase make an Urza Saga Construct token. I think I'm just going to Pithing Needle Codex Shredder. I think I just want to bump my artifact count because, like, my opponent has a decent number of artifacts in their deck, and I need to respect those. All right. Don't think I want to play out another Urza Saga this turn. I want to play one next turn. Yeah, this is all fine. I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn. I can consider just stomping an Urza Saga Construct token here. But I'm kind of hoping that I will just end up with the bigger constructs at the end of the day. I'm just going to make this now. And then I can F6. Yeah, okay, my opponent will make their own. Fine. I don't know if they have multiple Pithing Needles, and I'm going to have to worry about, like, Saga getting needled now. We do. Yeah. Not great for me. Like, this is a dead card now. This isn't really doing anything. I'm about to lose this land. I'm not about to get anything out of this. Rough. Yeah, no artifacts, so I just lose a land. I'm going to cast some stuff to the board, but it's not exactly doing a ton. Like, the Bonecrusher Giant is likely to be outclassed by a construct token in this turn cycle. Like, they just play any one artifact, and then they have 5/5s. Bonecrusher Giant doesn't trade anymore. Alright, they picked up a Glimmer Void. Okay, yeah. The good news, though, is that if I get through some of my opponent's stuff here, like, if I can get through these construct tokens, I'm pretty likely to win. Okay. Bad news is my opponent's going to get a bunch of library manipulation and larger constructs, so I don't think I can really do anything here. I'm going to play out one of these. It's likely to destroy itself without really doing anything, but there's some worlds where, like, I end up with a 4-drop on top of my library and I plus for mana or, like, do some other weird things. I think I'm just going to die to combat damage pretty quickly. Yeah. Trade double body. Probably need to trade for this while I can. That doesn't feel good. Alright. No. Force them to activate. Yeah, I'd probably say no and force the activation. Because then if I... Yeah. But I think I'm dead here. Yeah, so, like, I'm going to draw this mountain. This isn't activatable. My opponent attacks in. I lose this. I take 6. Yeah, I think this one's far enough gone that I'm going to go ahead and concede. All right, now on the play, do I want to play Chalice? If I play Chalice, I get considerably worse at actually answering my opponent's stuff. And, like, the Urza Saga Construct tokens are the thing that I'm most scared about. I'm not really super scared about my opponent locking me out of the game. I'm scared about dying to constructs and my opponent buying enough time for the constructs to kill me with the other plan. I don't think this is actually where I want to be. Okay. Is this hand good enough? I have a lot of gas, but I don't have any real early plays. I guess... I don't know that this hand is good enough. I have no answer to an opposing Urza Saga. I don't have a Ragavan for my fastest starts. I don't have a Blood Moon to attempt to just, like, easily cheese a win. I think I can do better. This is approximately the same power level, but I do have some stuff that can be pointed at construct tokens. One's a little worse, but I don't think it's worth going for 5 to fish for better at that point. Okay. Sure. And, like, this is part of the reason why I don't necessarily want to fish, because, like, if you go too deep looking for something that makes the opener really strong and your opponent just punches a hole with discard, it's kind of whatever. Alright. So now I'm going to be kind of leaning on Urza's Saga quite a bit here. Karn is also going to be harder to cast than I would like. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're dead. We are not going to beat that. Like, now I don't get constructs, and that was the strongest portion of this hand. Well, my opponent won't either. I guess there's a world. But I am very much not favored currently. Yep, alright, as expected. A Ragavan. Yeah, I'm good with that. That means I can get Karn next turn. And a quick Karn is incredible. Excuse me? Like, whatever, fuck it, I'll take it. Alright, round 3, I've kept my opening hand here. Something I'm starting to realize is I don't actually have all that many great early game plays other than just like Ragavan. So, like, the difference between a Ragavan hand and a non-Ragavan hand is kind of spooky. So, are we playing against some sort of like oops all spells deck? Don't know exactly what to be expecting here, but I'm guessing getting access to Relic of Progenitus is going to be important. Yeah, it's even kind of like it. Okay. Yeah, I expect to die next turn. Okay. I'll hold up a Skred in case that can save me. I don't think it can. Actually, double Skred might? Like if there's 3 Dark Amoebas? Let's kill 2 of them and then my opponent can't Dread Return? Alright. So this is going to be an Undercity Farmer or a Blue-Stride Spy. Okay. My opponent will sacrifice this. Alright. Oh, this is also a Yorion deck. Holy fuck. Okay. Does my opponent just have 3 fucking Narcomoebas in hand? Did you just die? Yeah? You have Narcomoeba. Okay. Is there like a bridge from below in here or something? Oh wait, hold on. There like a salvage titan? There is a salvage titan. So if I kill Narcomoeba here, it doesn't actually get rid of Sword of the Meek. So you return it, then attach it to that creature. So that's happening. Alright, so exiling 3 artifacts from the graveyard returns it to hand. That was their second one this turn, so they returned triple Vengevine, or quadruple Vengevine rather, so I can't Skred my way out of this anymore. I can Skred only one of these because this isn't 3. I would still die to 2. Okay, so we're just dead. All right. Is Chalice good against this deck? No. My Graveyard Hate will be. Shattering Spree has text. Grafdigger's Cage is actively good. Ensnaring Bridge is actively good, but I probably leave it in the sideboard. Actually, maybe that's not true. Like, maybe this matchup is fast enough where, like, even though I have Karn, I have to just board this in as a way to, like, Mise wins. Yeah, I could buy that. So my opponent can't return Salvage Titans with a Karn in play, so this card still has text. My Blood Moon's even good. Make it harder for my opponent to get black mana. Yeah, I guess they're fine. Yeah, I feel like my deck is just going to be slower than my opponent's deck here. Like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to cut the Furies because they're hard to hardcast, or if I'm supposed to cut, like, Skreds because Skred isn't a creature that can just, like, turn sideways and kill my opponent. I think I'm going to junk the Furies. This hand has turn 2 Ensnaring Bridge. I'm good with that. It also has a Shattering Spree for if my opponent, like, plays out some fast mana or something. This is fine. I don't know that Yorion makes my opponent's deck better, by the way. It's like their whole deck is built around either having Blue-Stride Spy or Undercity Informant. In any hand where they don't have one of those, they're just playing like a very bad, very awkward deck where the mana base hurts them a lot. Yeah, I don't know that having access to Yorion actually makes his deck better. I'm not a big fan of Yorion, generally speaking, though. Alright, so let's take my 2 damage and get my treasure token. Year of the Suns. Is it the charge counter thing? Yeah. Alright. I think I will just go ahead and put this Ensnaring Bridge into play immediately. I have a handful of removal spells here. So, like, I'm not worried about having too few cards in hand for my Ragavan to actually be attacking. Alright, yep. Ouchie. X-proof as long as it's untapped. That's a little annoying. I mean, that helps. That helps considerably. So let's do the Rabbly thing. At least gives me a 1/1 that can be attacking in every turn. And I will absolutely attempt to trade here. I'm unsure how my opponent is going to view that. I don't know how badly they need the colors / the mana. I'm unsure if Ragavan connecting is good or bad for me. Sylvan Caryatid. Also hexproof. Rip spot removal spells, basically. I might get an opportunity to, like, Lightning Bolt this Paradise Druid, though. Or more accurately, Skred it, because a Lightning Bolt can go to face. Alright, my opponent thought for a long time and then played a tapped lands. Deal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land. The rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Okay. So this allows them to essentially stack their library. So I need to kind of scan here and see, like, do they have an answer to this ensnaring bridge? It's seeming to me like the answer is no. Let's do. That does not destroy ensnaring bridge. I don't think they can win. Oh, Goblin Charbelcher. That's how they win. Okay. So they probably can't play and activate Goblin Charbelcher in the same turn. That's probably going to be a two-step thing. Okay. I think I'm fine. Alright, I'm going to put this Skred on the bottom of my library. I don't need that. Seems like they have resolved their spell. This is now not hexproof. I can kill this on my turn. I don't necessarily have to do it now. Okay. Fine. Did my opponent account for Ragavan when they did their stuff? So I have 2 Goblin tokens, plus 2 Goblin Rebel Master power, plus 2 other power. So that's 6, 7, 8. Lightning Bolt is 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I think I just go ahead and crash in with the Ragavan anyway. Because then if my opponent, like, shocks themselves, like, they're going to die. My opponent's at 4. Yeah, they put the Goblin Charbelcher on top. Good stuff. So let's Skred this away. Yep, okay. Good stuff. So now I know Goblin Charbelcher is something that I need to play around. Okay. Does that change anything? Not really. Yeah, I think I'm good with how things stand right now. Alright, so I kept my opening hand. I have a Relic of Progenitus, and I have a Blood Moon to, like, neuter my opponent's mana sources. This is a fine start. I will need another land, but I'll have 3 draws to find that land to play the Blood Moon on curve. I think that's okay. And then once the graveyard is covered, like, I have Karn to shut off the Goblin Charbelcher. So I'm pretty good with where this hand stands right now. Alright, there's my next land. And I think as long as my opponent doesn't play out like a Pentad Prism sort of effect, I can go ahead and just play Blood Moon next turn. Okay. There's a 2-3, which is awkward for me. Don't get to play Blood Moon here. I will just go ahead and Skred this thing. I'll take it out of their graveyard now. And then next turn, I can Moon. I think it's safe to drop the Relic to do this. They require black or green mana to do their thing. Alright, it resolved. We'll see if I'm wrong. And there's something that can just beat me from this position. I don't think so. Alright, I need a land. Thank you, deck! Thank you! Nice. So we will go ahead and tutor. Yes. I'll grab Liquid Metal Coating, and I can start blowing up my opponent's lands. Does this stop Pentad Prisms? Oh, it's a text here. Activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control can't be activated. Alright. The mountain. Okay, and we have the win there. GG's. That was more of a nail biter than I expected. They just happened to have the one of Goblin Charbelcher in hand. I think I'm going to keep this opening hand. I don't really love it, but I think I'm not going to love a lot of the opening hands from this deck. Because I like, the non-Ragavan hands are just so much weaker than everything else. Like, I have this Urza Saga value plan, but, like, when my opponent isn't playing things that I need to kill on turn 1, a lot of my hands become just noticeably worse. I'm gonna try to ride the Urza Saga value train to victory here. But, like, I don't have a threat to play this turn. Oh. Okay, sure. I'm gonna assume that the Blood Moon here is not gonna be great against what is probably like the rack. Or I guess they call it 8 rack in modern. Yeah. Okay. Let's get this Bonecrusher Giant hanging out in exile, where it can't be taken. And then I'm pretty far away from playing a Fury. And I guess I assume let's... No, I'm gonna discard the Lightning Bolt over a land. I need these lands after my Urza Saga disappears. Like, I may lose 3 damage for this, but I think it's important. Alright. I do not know what to Pithing Needle from my opponent. I'm just not familiar enough with the deck list. Like, in a vacuum, I'm just going to name Liliana of the Veil. Until I have a reason to suspect that there's something better to name. So here's my construct. Okay. Here's my more other construct. Alright, we'll Pithing Needle Lily of the Veil. I'm glad I kept this land, because now I, at least in theory, get to get 1 more point of damage in this turn. And I'm going to attempt 4 damage. Okay. That's fine. I'll sacrifice the Summoning Sick one. I guess I'll take a card out of your graveyard. So now I have 2 cards hanging out in exile. Well, not exactly in exile, but I have 2 cards that aren't in my hand where they are vulnerable to discard. Okay, that's fine. Like, until my opponent has something like a Phyrexian Arena or a Planeswalker that gives them card advantage, like, I'm fine with playing this 1-for-1 game. Okay. Fine. Like, I still have the Bonecrusher Giant that I can play out. Okay, Fury's not great. Which is probably a statement about the card itself in this deck, more so than just the situation. I don't think I'm pretty sure I have not hardcast a Fury yet. My Urza Saga lands disappearing is just like working against this card actually resolving. It's fine in the early game, but like on the non-Ragavan starts, again, the power of this card is really lessened a lot. Goodbye, Bonecrusher Giant. Okay, that's fine. You have another 1 mana play? Oh, do you just have a discard? Okay, you have a spell bomb. Alright, that's fine. I don't want to play this card. Urza Saga is insane for me. I'm gonna go ahead and crack this. Hitting an Urza Saga would be so good. Oh, okay. Now we wait. Yep, I figured my opponent would cycle that immediately. Yep, I will discard this Blood Moon because I don't want to cast it. Okay. That's fine. I am going to bleed my opponent to death faster than they are going to bleed me to death here. So here's my 1 point of goblin damage. Oh, yeah, while I still have 2 cards, this isn't doing anything to me. Yeah, I'm totally fine right now. Yep. Yeah, if opponent doesn't have an answer to this Rabble Master, I am just getting in there. So we'll buff my critters. My opponent will be dead next turn. I have 3 uncastable cards currently, though, unfortunately. Is this going to be an opponent? Yeah, that's fine. Actually, yeah, okay. I think I actually want the chalices this time. I think I'm going to board out my Blood Moons. Like, my opponent might have some manlands, like the one that turns into like a Beholder or whatever it is. And they might have Urza Sagas themselves or something, but I think my Urza Sagas are just so important that I just like have to do that. A little awkward in some ways, but I think this is what's happening. Yeah. I'm going to want to keep like mana heavy hands maybe. The mulliganing is obviously bad against my opponent. But is this hand good enough? There's a lot of damage that just goes to the dome here. Unsure. I'm going to keep it. Notably, my opponent did choose not to play first. Alright. Where's going to go land go? Okay. What are you going to do? Which discard spell are we looking at? Alright, you get your pick. I don't think I'm supposed to just fire off lightning bolts immediately. I think I'm supposed to pad my hand size and just kind of like leave these around for a little while. How do I feel about this Urza Saga? Is that what I'm doing? I think that's what I'm doing. It's value. I will probably stomp my opponent's face at end of turn. Okay. So we'll do the end of turn stump, and this just like leaves this card hanging out in exile where it can't just be easily touched. I'm good with that. And then I'll play my land and pass. Okay, so we got a time walk in terms of like mana usage from my opponent. Super happy with that. Sure. That's fine. I'll make my construct end of turn. Take no damage from the rack. We're gonna see an edict here. That's fine. I'll get my construct, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take the relic or just like Pithing Needle or Liliana. I think I'm supposed to just like Pithing Needle or Liliana. I'll play out my land, and that's gonna be my turn. Okay. That would have been another good Pithing Needle name. That's fine. Again, we're gonna like slow the roll with the lightning bolts. We don't need to go absolutely as quickly as possible with those. Ooh. I think going for the dash here is great. Incentivize my opponent to activate this, and then I can try to destroy it. And Sinkhole is a good card. So there's the lightning bolt. I'll get in for 2. Ooh. That's worth casting. I'll cast that. It means in some circumstances, like, I might not get to double spell next turn. Cards are so good. Probably be one of the 3 drops. I'll pick Rob Master. Okay. I could go for the dash, but if I go for the dash and it doesn't work out, I can't do a 3-drop this turn. I think I'm just going to play my card from exile and play a Ragavan. I'm going to do it in this order so that I don't have to lose the Ragavan to an edict effect. Kind of nice. That is weird. It will get rid of like these 4 permanents. Yeah, and if my opponent gets rid of the rack, you'll lose a major damage source. Ooh. That's good. That's fine. I'll bash in for 4. Then I have to decide like what I'm doing with this Karn. Like, I can use it to start blowing up my opponent's lands, but I'm unsure if that's better than just like playing Bonecrusher Giant and putting them dead next turn. So I'm going to play Bonecrusher Giant and just try to have them dead next turn, because this is 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to play out the lightning bolt on their end step. I'm just going to play conservative with my life. If they don't have a spot removal spell, I just have them dead anyway. Send them in. Alright, they go to 2. And lightning bolt you. Okay, and that's the match. What's my record now? Holy crap, we're 3-1 with this deck. So like I've complained a little bit about some of the awkwardness of this deck building, but like the scoreboard's going okay. Alright. Final round here. I've kept my hand versus a Lurrus deck. We have an Urza Saga opener. Like, I have some Furies and Skreds and stuff to take early creatures out of play. Alright, we are playing against Burn. Alright, I am okay versus creature-based damage and pretty bad versus the stuff that's going to go directly to my dome. We have Dragon's Claws in the sideboard to help with this, and like I'll have Chalices as well. Another awkward thing here is that like because I played Urza Saga to try to put pressure on the board, I can't actually immediately answer a 2/2 via Skred. Okay. It is probably worth it to play a Fury. I probably just need to remove this creature so I don't take the 2 damage from it, and I can still make my Urza Saga construct token on curve. What am I pitching? A Skred? Probably a Skred. Alright, so we'll just junk that. Alright. Sure. I think I have to take this 1. Okay. It's so risky to try and just Skred this while I control 2 lands. Oh, is it a Searing Blaze? Searing Blaze is rough here. Please draw a land. Alright. So, I'm going to lose this land, putting me further away from Fury and Chandra. That's rough. If I Skred, I can't do anything else with this turn cycle. I don't have like a mana rock or anything like that I can get. I guess I'm just making a 2/2 this turn and answering Monastery Swiftspear the following turn. That doesn't feel great. I could also Fury. We're going to name Sunbaked Canyon with this Pithing Needle so that my opponent can't like turn these into redraws. I guess my Blood Moon is bad enough that I could just Fury away this creature. Yeah, I buy that. This is very strange to me. This is a wild set of interaction versus burn. 2 Furies and a Pithing Needle on your lands. Suspend a Rift Bolt. Notably not opting to just like hard cast it at this. Yeah, guess I'm going in for 2 damage. I can't play either of these. Opponent's at 13. I assume this Rift Bolt just goes to my face. Yeah. Alright, okay, now they are opting to take out my construct. Ow. Alright, Lurrus went to hand. I still have answers to Lurrus, that's okay. But my opponent might get some value out of this. Alright. Yeah, the Urza Saga leaving play, so I can't play this threat, is just real rough. Yep. Now my opponent's gonna, like, cast the Eidolon. I guess in response, I'll just Skred Lurrus. I'll let this resolve. I'll Lightning Bolt this. I go to 8. Fuck. Yeah, not being able to put this threat in play. It's brutal. Yeah. Does this Lightning Bolt need to go upstairs right now? I think so. There's a couple of worlds where I need to play 2 3-drops in a row if I draw a land right here. Alright, I'm at 5. 5 is a scary number. This puts my opponent to 5. My opponent will need to either kill me or answer Goblin Rabble Master, or they will die. Ooh. Okay. I'm at 2. I guess I play this. I'm gonna crack this. Bonecrusher Giant. If I attack, I'm dead on board to a Goblin Guide. But I think I have to attack. I need to get my opponent dead here. Time is not on my side. Because my opponent just has so many things that can top deck that kill me. That's one of them. Alright. I will play a playset of Dragon's Claw here, and probably a playset of Chalice of the Void. Karn can get Ensnaring Bridge, but I think Karn is ultimately too slow here, so that's the first thing that I'm going to cut. Afterwards, like, Pithing Needle is not really great. Like, it shut off Sunbaked Canyon this time, but, like, in most cases, this is just an artifact. I guess the fringe scenario that can happen where, like, this is super relevant is if my opponent plays Grim Lavamancer. I also don't want Blood Moons. I just don't want to take the time to do that. So I need to fill a slot here, and I guess that means playing a Grafdigger's Cage. It's super awkward to, like, board in another 1-drop when I'm boarding in 4 Chalice of the Voids, but I think that's what's going on. Is this A player, by the way? Yeah, this is A player. Okay, I mean, obviously this isn't keepable. This is acceptable. I'm gonna throw back this Pithing Needle. It's not really doing anything. A hand that looks like this probably forces my opponent into the control role. Like, they really have to just use mana to answer this Ragavan. Holy shit. Okay. Or not. Okay. I mean, see how this goes. You're gonna go to 18. I hit a Lightning Bolt. Yeah, I think I'll just blow up your creature and then, like, stomp end of turn. That's totally fine with me. I am just very surprised that my opponent didn't, like, play more conservatively around the Ragavan. Okay, now they take it out. That's fine. I'm fine with using my treasure to stomp here. So, Ragavan goes down. And I'll play this Goblin Rabble Master while I'm guaranteed to get a token out of it. And crash on in. Okay. Now, that's not necessarily what you want here. Ooh, this is great. That's a removal spell that does not cause me to take damage here. Is that better than playing Lightning Bolt and Bonecrusher Giant? Unsure. I'm going to go ahead and do it. It gives me more flexibility later. Goodbye. And send in the troops. I think I'm incredibly likely to win this one. Like, I'm going wide of my opponent here, and I have a bunch of resources left. Like, my opponent has to finish off this Planeswalker here, and, like, they're not using resources to combat the stuff that I have on board. Okay, so that'll take out the Goblin Rabble Master. It's still not hard castable. Yeah. I'll take my 2 damage here. I'm just gonna lightning bolt this now. No messing around. I've got a Bonecrusher Giant. I have a 2-turn clock on my opponent. They have cards left in hand. Gotta be good. Yep. Alright. Dash time. Oh, this is great for me. So my opponent goes to 6. Ooh, I found Skewer the Critics. I can Spectacle this, right? Just shoot you down to 3. Ragavan returns back to my hand. I have theoretical lethal next turn. Okay, yep. Okay, is it worth playing around something going wrong? I can just Fury pitch cast Ragavan and then attempt to kill my opponent this turn. Or I can just play more conservatively. I think I'm just going to play more conservatively here. Like, I feel like this game is won unless I do something stupid to blow it. Sure, that's fine. Yeah, okay, cool. So we're going to be on the draw this time, so it'll be a little harder. I don't think I get to change anything about my sideboarding here. Okay, I have no lands here, so easy mulligan. I have a Ragavan, easy keep. Given that I have 2 Urza Sagas, I don't think I'll be casting this Chandra this game. I'm going to junk that. It's more likely that I'll end up using a Fury. I also think it's very possible that my opponent just, like, okay, suspended Rift Bolt. Not great for me. Alright, do I want to trade Ragavan for 3 life with this hand? Next turn, I'm going to play an Urza Saga. I'm not going to have anything to do with my mana. So the thing that I would do with my mana is dash Ragavan. Giving Ragavan in hand also lets me pitch cast Fury. Yeah, I think I'm just going to chill here. I'm going to go to 17 off this Rift Bolt. And we'll see what my opponent has for me. Another Rift Bolt. Okay, I mean, we'll try to play around that with the Ragavan. Okay. So there's Urza Saga. Here's dash Ragavan. Seems like it's getting in. Okay, it is not getting in. Oh, I'm super stoked for a Path to Exile. Like, I can definitely use this mana, because, like, I have a Fury in hand. Already made my land drop. Alright. I'm gonna go to 14 off the Rift Bolt. Okay. Alright, I'm at 11. Really use a Dragon's Claw. That's not a Dragon's Claw. Alright, so next turn, this is to activate. Play a land. So I don't want to play another Urza Saga yet. I just want to play a mountain here. I also could just consider playing Fury next turn, but I don't know that it's going to be better than another Urza Saga construct token. Alright, I mean, I love my opponent just drawing these lands. Yeah, that's Lurrus going to hand. That's great for me. My opponent also doesn't have a creature in graveyard to cast with Lurrus. So that's good. Alright, I've got my 1/1. That's not bad. Got my 2/2s. Graph Digger's Cage this up. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna grab the Graph Digger's Cage. Alright. Now I will just play a new Urza Saga. I'll crash in for 3. I can kill Lurrus, and I can get my opponent dead very quickly here. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Alright. There goes one of those. Ooh. That's fine. I'm gonna be bigger than that. I'm just trying to think if this lightning bolt goes to my opponent's face immediately. I think so. Can use Fury to kill Lurrus then? Keep the Goblin Rabblemaster in hand to pitch to it. Yeah, that's fine. Opponent's at 8. Okay. Play a land. Create this. I've got a 3/3. That means that this can attack in. Opponent goes to 5. I have Bonecrusher Giant for Lurrus. Okay. I also have Fury. So I know that my opponent's last card is Lurrus. I have an answer to it in Fury. I think I just avoid taking this damage this turn. This does give my opponent some life from Core Firewalker. Alright. I go to 6 from this attack. Oh, a Chalice. So, I'll make my new construct. I will fish an artifact out of the graveyard. Relic is fine. I can turn that into a redraw later. I will play a land. Am I good with playing Chalice? I think Chalice on 1 stopping direct damage stuff is really strong for me. I'm good with that. Now I'll attack in for 5. I have 2 different lethal threats, and I have Fury to kill my opponent's Lurrus so that they can't do lifelink shenanigans. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we'll cast a Fury. You can have your 1 life, that's fine. My constructs are just lethal. I will shoot a laser at Lurrus. Holy shit, and we end up with a 4-1 in this league. Which was very, very close to actually being a 5-0, because I think we lost round 1 after just an incredible series of heartbreaking draws of like 3 Urza Saga, then a couple and 2 Blood Moons while I already had a Blood Moon in play. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Despite the fact that this league went well, I don't feel like the deck was particularly great, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, until that last round, Fury did basically stone cold nothing the entire league. Karn and Chandra were kind of hard to cast because I was losing land drops to Urza's Saga disappearing. So, like, having this many 4-drops didn't make a lot of sense. Like, the Ragavans and the Urza Sagas are very good, and they are very good in conjunction. But I don't know how good the details of the supporting cast are. So, like, do I want this Fury effect to try to be forcing Ragavan through when I already have, like, all these Lightning Bolts and Skreds? Like, do I want Karns, or do I just want something else that is at the 3-drop slot? Like, are you supposed to lean more into aggression than what I actually did and play something like Legion War Boss as well? Unsure. Like, are you supposed to cut the Blood Moons from the main deck and lean more heavily on Urza Saga and play more threats? I don't know. Like, I feel like there's plenty of wiggle room here for what you want to be doing. Retrofitter Foundry is not legal in Modern, and I tried to find something else that could, like, replicate its effects, but I couldn't really find that. I don't know exactly what else I want to do with this deck. I know we beat Burn without it, but I am very glad that I did have access to the Dragon Claws. Like, I think that was a great effect to have. I was very happy with the sideboard Chalice plan. And if you cut Karn, if you cut Karn from the deck, that means you open up 3 sideboard slots. And I didn't super feel like I needed to hide behind Ensnaring Bridge in a lot of these matches. Like, I felt like, outside of a couple of very specific things like Tarmogoyfs, I was okay. Like, maybe you open up more slots for things for, like, the Hammer Time matchup that the donor was worried about, or, like, maybe you can play more Relic of Progenitus or other things to stop very large creatures like Murktide and Uro and Kroxa and such from getting into play. But yeah, this was an enjoyable league, but a heck of a slog. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button. If you're new here, please subscribe. Those are the easiest ways to support my content for free. And again, if you want to see something cool on the channel and you've got an idea, the donation queue is pretty low right now, and I'd love to see some spice. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya!